The Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has been arguably the best and fastest smartphone option to launch this year, but the Poco F5 Pro and other mid-range specialists are really doing well when it comes to speed and performance. While I've done nothing but praise the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra for its blistering performance, I still have some concerns about Samsung's animations. And in my previous videos, I have praised the Poco F5 Pro and even the F5 in my recent video for having arguably better animations or smoother animations with its MIUI 14 versus even Samsung phones. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up test in 3, 2, go. And you might be wondering, why in the heck is this guy comparing a mid-ranger to a flagship phone? It's because the Poco F5 Pro is supposed to have a flagship CPU as advertised by the brand itself. Now that's a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 CPU versus the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 designed for Galaxy on the left. Now the Poco does turn on faster than the Samsung device, so it's looking good so far for Poco. Remember, the Poco phone is not a US-based phone. It is a global model I have here unlocked. So if you want to try this phone out, you're gonna have to buy it unlocked. But definitely it's fun to see how these mid-rangers are stacking up against the fastest in the world. And so far, the Poco did turn on faster. So let's begin with the biometrics here. So with the Samsung, you have the in-display fingerprint sensor on board. And again, once you know where it's at, it's good to go. You can even unlock it with the screen off underneath display. This also does have face unlock. Just look at it. I was blocked by the camera. Hold on. Just look at it and you can go ahead and bypass the lock screen. Now, the Poco F5 Pro also has an in-display fingerprint sensor. It's a little bit lower, but you can still unlock it like that. Now, I do think that the Poco phone's fingerprint sensor is about the same speed, but when you look at its face unlock, you don't even get to see the lock screen. It's so fast. So you can see it is enabled. It actually see me right there too. So you can see it is enabled up there. But it's just immediate. It's like it's not even on, but it actually is on, because if you give this phone to somebody else, you'll see you're not going in. So the Poco F5 Pro, about the same speed to unlock, but faster when it comes to that face unlock. Neither of these are very secure when it comes to their face unlock, so I wouldn't rely on that as my primary method though, if I was you. All right, so how do these look in performance when it comes to their general operating systems? I can tell you, it's kind of tough to see on camera, but you know, it looks like the Poco might be a slightly smoother. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the Samsung's pretty darn fast as well, but I feel like there's just a hair more of a less smooth feel. I don't know. Maybe it's the vanilla Android on here that's getting me, but the MIUI just feels a little bit slicker. But the Samsung One UI is leaps and bounds better on the S23 Ultra than it was last year on the S22 Ultra. But there's something to be said about these less skinned out versions of Android. I mean, the MIUI is skinned out, but it's not overly skinned out. It's still running pretty close to vanilla with some icon changes and a few things here, theme changes, but it's not a very heavy skin. It's just a little bit, I would say it's not the most clean looking out there, but it's not super heavy, where Samsung really just overdoes, well, not overdoes, but really takes Android and makes it their own platform here with the One UI. Both of them rock solid, super smooth, but it's pretty impressive how the Poco F5 Pro, you know, is about as smooth. So I'm excited to see when I get this Pixel 7a shortly how it performs next to the flagship. But so far in general user interface, you're going to get about the same kind of feel and performance on a phone that costs 4 times less than this. Of course, I'm not saying that it's a better phone. You're still getting much better cameras here on the S23 Ultra, much more premium build. You're getting Samsung's long software support, their S Pen experience. So it's not really comparable there, but in terms of just general operating system smoothness, it's about the same. All right, guys, so here we are at the app test. If you notice, I got some clear cases on these phones. I don't want them sliding around in this app test. So you can see everything is closed out on both. Let's begin with calendar. You can see Samsung first there. Now let's go into calculator. That was the Poco F5 Pro. Clock. Samsung. Weather. That's the Poco F5 Pro. This is probably because Samsung's got a little bit more going on in their weather application. You'll see some ads and some also. Well, I'm not sure. No, the ads. These are stories and videos. I think they took the ads out, but you got the animation here. The Poco version is just a little bit less loaded with stuff. Instagram, and that's going to be first there on the right. Let's go to the Nick Ackerman page. You can see pretty close. Click this latest photo here. Pretty similar. See, the Poco just flies through things about the same as, it's about the same thing. Let's head up out of there. We'll go on the Play Store. And you're going to see the Poco F5 Pro finished at first. We'll go to PUBG. About the same. So look at this. In 2023, you can get phones that have essentially the same performance for 1/3 the cost. However, if you wanted to get the Galaxy A54, you would definitely sacrifice performance. Not with the Poco F5 Pro, which is coming in around the same price. Again, I'm not speaking to people who live in the US to get this device because it's not really available, but I know some of my viewers are not from the US, so if you're not from the US, this could be a good option for you. For US buyers, I probably would recommend the Pixel 7a if you're looking for performance. The G2, while not the fastest out there, very smooth. It's going to give you very nice flagship-like performance for around that A54 price point. Again, I should have that coming soon, so stay tuned to the channel. Let's go into Amazon. You could see pretty ridiculous here. Let's go into good performance on both. About the same there. Best Buy. So Poco is living up to claiming that they have a flagship CPU on here. It's definitely, because you could have a flagship CPU, but if it's not optimized correct, the phone still performs weak. Not with the Poco F5 Pro. I would say the Poco F5 Pro performs a lot like a OnePlus device. That was not fair. I didn't even click the other one. Let me close that out before it starts loading everything up. Let's go into Dead Trigger. Now, the Poco F5 does have a game booster mode, which actually boosts the performance in games. So that could be why some of these games will load faster on the Poco F5 Pro. Let's go into Asphalt 9. And you can see it's boosting the performance on the phone right there. But will it get to that home screen first? No, not this time. Samsung said, shut up, Nick. So definitely Samsung first there. What about Call of Duty? Now it's boosting that performance again. And I'm going to go ahead and see which one could get in here first. So Samsung a little faster here where it matters in something like Call of Duty. So when it comes to those more performance-oriented tasks, it looked like Samsung was taking the lead. Samsung again here, looking like it's faster. So yeah. Now we're seeing Samsung look quicker when it comes to gaming. So I'm going to say this, the Poco F5 Pro, just a hair behind, but easily keeping up with a phone multiple hundreds of dollars more than the Poco F5 Pro. Let's go into Geekbench 6. See how it does here. That's the Samsung. You could see 3 cores, 2.02 gigahertz. These are clocked lower on the Poco F5 Pro, but again, this is a Xiaomi-based phone. The MIUI version of the software, I feel like is lighter than Samsung's software. And this is going to pop an ad for both. Still faster on the Samsung. And let's mix it out here. Let's go to home. We'll go to video edit here on both. Let's click this, head up out of here, swipe out. Pretty similar. So overall, you've seen here in this app test that the Poco F5 Pro really does live up to, having pro performance at least. About the cameras and stuff, you have to watch my review on the Nick Ackerman channel, but definitely, this thing performed very well next to the Samsung. Day to day, I would say the Samsung, is probably going to be faster for more heavy multitasking if you're going to be doing gaming a lot and really pushing it to the limits. But you could even push this phone to the limits and it's not going to really slow down. Again, for around $375, $400, this is crazy performance on the Poco F5 Pro. Although its design is not very special. It kind of looks like every other phone out there, but definitely performance-wise, it's at the top of the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the RAM management now. And if it seems like I'm being biased towards Poco, that's not what's happening. What's happening is I'm benchmarking this phone to this phone. We know that this phone is a beast. I call it the king of Android phones. So when I'm looking to see how does this perform next to this, it's not really that I'm not giving Samsung its flowers. Like Samsung gets its flowers because Samsung nailed it with these S23 Ultra, and I've done nothing but praise them in previous reviews. So if you feel like I'm not giving them their props, that's not what's happening. Samsung has already proven to me that they can make a beast phone with the Galaxy S23 Ultra. The Poco F5 Pro is a newer phone, so we're just seeing how this underdog does perform next to this guy over here. So you can see animations wise, like I say, I still feel like, I don't know if you could see it here, but I feel like okay, I'm missing taps, so I'm trying to say something. This might be a slight reload, but I feel like the animations look a little smoother on the MIUI. Just the way they fly out, the way it feels, the perception I get when I feel the scroll out, like maybe it's just faster. That's probably what it is. And I'm missing taps left and right today, looking like a rookie. Nick, come on, bro. But definitely pretty darn good and smooth here. If you go to settings here, not settings, if you go here on the home screen for the Poco phone, you hit the settings icon. They actually, if you go to more here, they actually have the animation speeds right there. You could put them on fast, balanced, relaxed. So let's see how they look with relaxed. So you can see much slower there. What about balanced? Let's go ahead and put on balanced here. I did it again. I went to settings. I could have just went here. Balanced here. So you can see a little smoother appearing right there. And again, with the S23 Ultra, we can go ahead and go to developer options and blazing fast speed these up too. But it's not just that. It's just kind of how the app animation looks when it flies out is what I'm talking about with the difference here. Overall, both of them held most of the applications on their own, but the Poco did reload, I think, 1 or 2. So Samsung wins it out in terms of actually holding that RAM. You know, this does have 12 gigabytes of RAM. So our final score for the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is in for the Geekbench 6 results. On multi-core, 4990. On single, 1948. We're only at 75% on the Poco F5 Pro. So it looks like we got a couple more minutes here. This already proves that the Poco F5 Pro technically is not faster. Day to day though, you've seen with its animations, it did pretty well. I'll be back when the final score is in on the Poco F5 Pro. And just about a minute or so after I just ended that last clip, the Poco F5 Pro is done. And it has a 1296 on the single. Not super far off, but over 1,000 points off on the multi-core. So that would basically illustrate, or at least, tell you what I was talking about with the multi-core performance, the RAM management, the multitasking abilities of S23 Ultra. Let's go ahead and do a quick camera test on both of these to see which one can launch their cameras first. So I'll bring this up here for this test. And we have the camera right here for the Poco F5 Pro. So let's go ahead and do this in 3, 2, go. And my finger was covering that, but it looked like the Poco F5 Pro had that. Let's do that again. Let me do that one more time. Make sure everything is closed. 3, 2, go. That time the Samsung, we'll close them again. Hold on. Let's go ahead and close them again. 3, 2, go. Yeah, so the Samsung actually opens that camera faster. When it comes to taking a photo, not a big difference whatsoever, but this is where Samsung will probably easily win out in the camera department. Battery life, I don't know about that because these mid-range phones can last and last and last. But overall, I would say the Poco F5 Pro, for being only around $400, put up a pretty good battle to the Galaxy S23 Ultra. It feels much cheaper. It doesn't have the S Pen, doesn't have the software support, but it does have very fast performance, and it's showing you that it is a mid-range beast right here in the Poco F5 Pro. I just wish they would do a better design. The design on here is just looking kind of like every other, Android phone on the market. Honestly, it's not super amazing design, but it honestly did pretty well. What are your guys' thoughts? Down below in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. I got more content coming your way for the rest of 2023, and I'd love to have you around. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.